Hello, and welcome to Who Are You? This is a reasonably well-done sci-fi watchcast hosted by two former strangers, now friends, who are currently watching Battlestar Galactica 2004. I'm Xhafer.
And I always forget to put in the reasonably well done part, but it's so important.
It's so important.
This is Laura.
And we've got a friend with us today, Vic. Hey, Vic.
Hey, glad to be back here with you guys. You guys are my favorite podcast to guest host on.
Oh,
Yeah.
appreciate
I'm so
that.
excited to have you here for Battlestar Galactica.
Yes.
And watching me be super wrong about everything.
Oh, God, it is so exciting. I'm reliving it through you, like having the experience of watching it the first time. It's really interesting because Babylon 5, for the longest time, was my number one held in my heart spot sci-fi TV show. So it was super fun being able to guest host on you with that when you guys were covering Babylon 5.
Mhm.
And then you now you're doing Battlestar Galactica. I vividly remember being so hooked on this show when it first came out. And
Yeah.
we had little watch parties at my house. Like my roommates, we would come over and we'd watch the new episode together. This is back before the streaming days, when you actually had to wait until
Right.
the day
Yeah.
and time and set a reminder and, shut your phone off. And someone would call and be all just like, "Dude, turn your phone off." So,
Yeah.
but I remember we watched it. I'm like, man, I love the show, but still Babylon 5 is my number one. And I held on to that until the season finale of season 1. And I got to say, I cannot wait to listen to the episode of you, because after that one, after it ended, I was like, oh, that did it. That crowned the new king of sci-fi for me. And
Wow.
Battlestar Galactica held that spot until The Expanse came along. So, so for my personal rankings, this is a very important thing to me. My mental spreadsheet of all my favorite sci-fi franchises and whatnot. So yeah.
Wow. This is a strong endorsement. And we only
It
have
really
a
is.
few episodes left to get to that.
I know.
season one
I'm so excited
finale.
to hear your reaction to the finale. It's gonna
Oh,
be.
gosh. I'm excited now.
In the spoiler chat, I have predicted a moment where you are going to message or call me.
Same.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's really. I feel like what's the word I'm looking for? This new golden era of sci-fi TV is largely in part to Battlestar Galactica, because I remember this
100%.
show. It brought in a lot of the mainstream audience. People who are typically not sci-fi fans were really into Battlestar Galactica. I remember at the time, my sister-in-law at the time was living with us in our apartment, and we would be watching the newest BSG episode in the living room, and she'd come in to get something from the fridge, and next thing you know, she's like parked. I see her parked up behind us watching the show. Like, whoa, who's this red lady that no one can see? Like, what's going on here with the lady in the red dress and shit? And then she'd be into it, and then we would be like, okay, well, we got to start the season over, because you have to get caught up. You can't just jump in. You have to. We restarted season 1 so many times because we would have friends over, be like, "You haven't seen it yet? Okay, pull up a chair." Yeah, that was good times, good memories. Yeah, and so when it was first airing, another little thing I wanted to talk about, like in relation to Babylon 5 as well. When the show first aired, they occasionally had like an after show, kind of like the Ready Room almost.
Oh, okay.
Like occasionally they would do that, and it would have Ron D. Moore in there, and they'd be talking about like the writing in the background and stuff. And I remember, so there was it was the episode where, so no spoilers, but it was the episode where they finally revealed the identity of the final Cylon, and it was a big deal. And I remember watching Ron D. Moore talk with him, and he said, like, yeah, so we got together with the writers' room, and we started tossing around ideas about who the final Cylon should be, and we just kept on coming back to, it had to be this person. And we were all just in agreement. And I'm like, wait a minute. You didn't have this planned out from the beginning? You're telling me, like, I didn't know how TV, like typical TV writing worked back then. And I was like offended almost. Like, you've been taking me on this ride and you don't even know where we're going.
You bought into the JMS.
Exactly.
Is what you did.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As much as a personal beef I have with JMS now, I do got to say he kind of
He might
spoiled me.
hear.
Well, he knows we're reasonably well done. So yeah. I was just shocked because JMS set that standard for me. I just loved the fact that all throughout the series it had the same consistent thing. Because didn't you? I think it was on this show that I found out from you guys that he wrote every episode except like 1 or 2.
He wrote, so in seasons 1 and 2, he would have friends or esteemed writers kind of take it one here or there. And then I want to say it's 2/3 of the way through season 2. He wrote everything until season 5's He Who Will Not Be Named episode.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, this was a time and a place for sure. I was in college when this was airing, and it was definitely a event. Like, I was already a sci-fi nerd, so that wasn't new, but definitely was requisite. It's it's Wednesdays or whatever it was airing on. Most of college is a blur for a number of reasons.
Nice.
Weird. Yeah.
Crazy how that happens. It couldn't possibly been all the alcohol. Anyways,
I remember for the season finale, I was playing EVE Online at the time, and the people in my guild, I think they're called corporations. It was basically a guild in an MMO. A lot of them lived in the UK, and one of them sent me a link for a torrent to download the season because it aired a week earlier for them in the UK, so they had already seen the season finale, and he did a file share for me, and me and my roommates, we all watched it a day early on my computer, just huddled around it, the big CRT monitor and shit.
yeah.
And that was pretty epic. And I want to say, I think the UK version has a different intro song than the US version. I'll have to look that up.
That's a thing that happens sometimes. I think.
The theme song changes after season 1. If you're, I think, doesn't it? Anyways,
we'll find out.
We'll find out in a couple weeks. Yeah, we're not that far away. But yeah, so we're not at the season finale. We're a couple episodes before. We're at season 1, episode 10, The Hand of God.
Oh, now, I wrote down Hand of Dog.
That's just your dyslexia. You picked this episode, Victor.
Yes, I did.
So I got to ask, why this episode? Or if you want to save it till at the end, or if it's spoilies.
Simply, it's my second favorite episode of season 1. The favorite being the finale. Okay. And I thought it would just be presumptuous of me just to jump in for the finale episode. So
well, that's the one Beth picked. So.
Oh.
Beth has privilege, I suppose.
That's fair.
Certain privileges.
Yeah, totally understandable.
Yeah. I believe her exact reason was, you know me, I want the most dramatic bitch episode that's in that season.
Yeah. So it's God, I'm so excited. I won't. Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to hear your reaction, Laura. It's gonna be so good. But the first 2 seasons are my favorite. But anyway, doing it on a binge watch these days is a lot better. I just remember being really upset back in the day, having to wait a week in between episodes.
Having to wait the year in between the first half and the second half of season 4 was fucking miserable.
And this was the era where they were doing mid-season finales or mid-season breaks. Because
this and Breaking Bad really started
Breaking
that.
Bad, Walking Dead, a lot of them, they discovered that the highest ratings come from the finale. So they were all just like, well, we can't have more finales, but wait, could we? The TV executives are all just sitting around like, how can we milk more ratings out of our audience?
And you can't make it another season, because if it's another season, you have to renegotiate because everyone gets signed for seasons. Not well, I mean, it's changed since then, but that used to be how it was you get signed for seasons, and so they would split it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into this episode. We open on a press conference. The fleet is almost out of Tilium. It's starship fuel, guys. This is
unobtainium.
Yeah.
When asked about a backup plan if the fleet runs out of fuel, Rosalind has a Kamala-induced vision of seeing snakes. Kamala tried to get us all to see snakes, and that didn't go too well, did it?
knew you were gonna make it.
That was
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, too real. Sorry.
It's important that we stay on top of current events. You know, that we can't just.
How else will this podcast feel dated in 6 months if we don't reference current
Yeah,
events?
exactly.
Fair enough. That's good enough. Yeah. So in this episode here, I don't know if I never noticed this before, but I'm just gonna drop this in the Discord. I took a screenshot of this press conference we have here. The guy in the front row here, my dude in the front row here, is he holding a phaser?
That'd be fun. You know, if you like took little props from other sci-fi shows and used them as other stuff in your sci-fi show.
Yeah, like that
That's
doesn't look
fun.
like any microphone I've seen. That looks like a freaking phaser. Is she about to stun the president, or is he about to stun the president here?
I like the 2000s era mini cam that the person behind the phaser holder has. Like, that is straight
Yeah.
up a piece of technology that I have seen in person.
Mm-hmm. That is one thing I love about the setting that is just kind of brilliant. Seeing as how this series takes place a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. You know, in Kobol and the colonies and everything, they can create their own technology thing. It's not like other TV shows like we watch. I don't know, like say in Star Trek TNG, like in the very first season, they had printers on every deck where they would print out the orders on paper and stuff. And we're just like, that's ridiculous. And so the technology doesn't feel out of place. But here, since it's a completely separate, you know, fictional universe, they can do whatever they want. And I think that's really brilliant. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So Rosalind bails out of this conference here as she has these
Snakes.
visions. We cut over to
Yeah.
Crashdown and Boomer, who are searching for
Starkiller.
Tillum. Yes, it is Starkiller.
Mhm.
And instead of making us wait a whole fucking episode, we find the Tilium before credits.
Yeah. They're really good at finding stuff we need.
These
Yep,
two.
wrote that down. There's a term for that. What they do, they bring up, or Boomer brings up the fact that they also found, was it water previously?
Yes, it was water.
Yeah, and it's called lamp shading, from what I understand. It's a trope where if something weird and obvious that doesn't feel like based in reality, just the fact that these two main characters will always be making the important discoveries, or they put a lampshade on it just to point it out, be like, haha.
Yeah.
They did the thing.
I'm pretty sure these two also later make another important discovery. No. But
No.
yeah.
Okay. I loved that Crashdown was like doing the percussive maintenance on
Yes.
the TV, but it's weird that it was like malfunctioning and he baps it a little and we found the thing. And, you know, I was
Found
like,
the Tilium.
this is so suspicious. I'm so suspicious. But we found Tilium. Yay.
Yay.
But, oh no. Oops.
Mhm.
Someone else is already here.
Uh-oh, it's not stupid. It is, in fact, Cylon.
Yeah.
It's oops, all Cylons.
We go to theme. We come back. Galactica's looking a little beat up
Yeah.
in this little flyby.
It is so good. I love the attention to detail there. As the seasons go by, they're consistent with the battle damage on the Galactica because, yeah, it makes sense. It's not like Star Trek Voyager where it's just magically cleaned and vacuumed every week. But no, those scars, they are consistent on the Galactica's hull.
Nice.
I love that detail. It's
Yeah.
by, minor spoiler, but by season 5, she looks like shit.
Yeah. Can we imagine then what if Ronald D. Moore had gotten to run Voyager, what she would have looked like?
Yeah.
Well, there was.
That'd be fun.
So yeah, we have the senior staff meeting. They're talking a plan. And the old man here says what they were all trying to avoid. They're going to have to fight the Cylons and take this Tilium.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
He brings
mean-
up the valid point. They have the only advantage that they ever will at any point, which is surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Seemingly.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. Do we?
So they start to talk about a plan here, and Adama goes and recruits Mary Starbuck for some outside of the box thinking.
At first I thought this was a little tropey. I don't want to use the word Mary Sue, but kind of like, she's the main character, so we got to bring her in.
I mean, like,
I don't feel like this is Mary Suey if
agree.
we had not done that silly interrogation episode. That's what kind of like pushes it a little bit. It's like, maybe
Yeah.
we could have pulled her back for that one, so we
Well,
do this one. Because this makes a lot of sense. This makes more sense than the sniper and
The sniper was too much. I
interrogation.
feel like that was too much. But the interrogation thing, I rationalized. I just figured they were like, okay, it's a problem. Personnel is a problem for our heroes here because there's less than 50,000 people left in the human
Total.
race.
Yeah,
So there's a shortage on qualified personnel in certain areas. So
for everything.
yeah. So they were like, we have this Cylon. We need to interrogate him. We don't have a trained interrogator anywhere. Who do we know that can really get under your skin? And Colonel Ty's like, I have just the person.
Yeah.
Who was hazing those cadets? Same difference.
Yeah. I could see them bringing in Adama wanting to bring in Starbuck because I've seen it in, workplace environments where if you have one person who's good at something, the management tends to heavily rely on that one person for everything.
Yeah.
I have been said person before, and that was back when I gave a shit about my career. But anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Big mood,
then
yeah.
it's like understandable now. It's all just like, okay, well, you just have Starbuck do everything.
Yeah.
She is the best pilot. She's probably got the most confirmed Cylon kills and everything.
Yeah.
Which I really want to know more about the backstory of the characters here. It's touched on a little bit in Caprica, but the Cylons, they disappeared for 50 years. So all of these, everyone in the colonial military here, for the majority of them, this is their first, I think it would be their first experience with like real combat. So I don't know.
They do reference putting down Tom Zarek's uprising.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Caprica, we get a little bit of that. We see that there was conflict between the separate colonies. I don't know. Has it been established yet that the 12 colonies are actually 12 different planets?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, that was pretty clear to me. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a map out there. You know what? I'll find it and I'll check to make sure it doesn't have any spoilers, and then I'll post it in Discord. But there's a star map that has the 12 colonies of Kobol, and I think it's at least 2 separate star systems that are in close proximity to each other.
Yeah.
And it has all the separate planets. If Caprica would have got renewed for a second season, I have a feeling we would have seen more of the other planets. Like I want to see, because they're all named after
like a constellation, right?
Yes. And I want to see, like me, I'm a Libra. I wanted to see more of Libron, but we only get one shot of Libron, and it's apparently famous for its ancient courthouses. So, because Libra is a balance scale thing. Yeah.
Yeah, justice sort of thing.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Rosalind talks to Priestess Alosha after this.
Yeah, we've seen her before, right?
Yeah, she was there for the So Say We Alls.
Yeah, she was in the original 2-part miniseries.
The miniseries, yeah.
Yeah. She's a recurring character. Yeah, we see her more.
And, Rosalind is describing her visions to her. And she's all like, "You're fucking with me."
Yeah. Are you fracking with me?
Yeah, because this is like you're literally quoting an ancient prophecy of the leader who's destined to bring us to a new land right now.
Yes. And she tells her, it's all just like, yeah, but that can't be you, because they said, according to the ancient scriptures, the leader was suffering from a mortal disease. But
wasting disease.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Rosalind's like quiet. So yeah, I love her reaction because like you said, you're shitting me, right? It's kind of like.
Yeah, and she basically tells her you're not going to live to see Earth.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, the key here was the leader takes them to the promised land but dies before they get there.
Yeah. So
Very
this was an ancient prophet who first saw this.
Pythia.
The Book of Pythia. Yeah.
Yeah, this is old ancient religious text, and this is also where this has all happened before this will all happen again comes from.
And said they were led by serpents numbering 2 and 10.
Yeah. And she supposedly saw a dozen snakes on her podium. I can't tell you guys how many times I paused to look at the different snakes and see what kind of snakes they were.
Did you see the one that was, there was that old thing you learned as a kid to tell the difference between a
which is
coral
not
snake.
totally accurate, so
Is
don't
it?
go by that.
Of course.
Don't go by that.
Everything I fucking learned in school has just turned out to be wrong.
The
Just
problem
don't fuck
is
with
like
snakes.
genetic
Yeah, exactly.
variations.
Just don't fuck with snakes. But yeah, one of them was had red, black, and yellow stripes on it. And isn't it the coral snake that's super venomous?
Coral snake is the bad one. I believe it's milk snake.
Milk snake that's
or maybe there's a scarlet something.
yeah.
Yeah,
But the old saying
there's
was
one
if,
that's fine.
if
This
red
is the one
touch
that's fine.
yellow, then they will kill Stringfellow.
Yeah.
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 I've only ever had to worry about rattlesnakes up north here. That's the
Fucking
only snakes
rattlesnake.
that we have that are a problem. So
They generally let you know. They do the
Yes.
thing.
Well, not anymore.
not
Not
anymore.
anymore.
All
They're-
rattlesnakes have stopped rattling.
You've heard about this? Yeah. It's
Oh
scary.
wait, no, I have heard about this because the like bone
It's-
won't form properly anymore because of some pesticide.
From what I understand,
Right.
it's we're seeing evolution happen within our lifetime, because the rattlesnakes that don't rattle before they strike, either the farmer or whoever it is,
They don't get killed by the
they
human.
don't get killed. The ones
Yeah.
that do rattle are being killed off. So the ones that don't rattle are breeding and and inheriting that gene. So
It's wild.
rattlesnakes are getting fucking stealthy. That's scary.
Boo! Stay obvious.
Yeah.
Boo.
We like obvious.
I have
we
a-
will just leave. We won't kill you. I promise.
One of my fans on DMTV, she's one of the people in the DMTV chess club that I play with, and I mentioned something about if you ever visit the States. She lives in London. And I'm like, if you ever visit the States, you should come visit. And she goes, no, I'm not going to visit America. You're full of rattlesnakes. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, I'm always seeing things in the news about snakes, or rattlesnakes. I hate snakes. I'm like, there's not rattlesnakes everywhere. Stop it. And then
They're really not as bad as Australian snakes. Australia is where
shit.
you don't want to
Oh,
go. Like
yeah.
we've
Bad.
got good antivenoms here. I don't know that you can antivenom all of those ones in Australia. That's pretty scary.
And then
That's what I'm
a
saying.
week, like literally a week later, my mother's little dog, she has this little chihuahua, was bitten in the eye by a rattlesnake out in
Oh
her
my
house.
god.
Thank God she's okay. She healed up, but she sent me the pictures. I felt so sorry for this little thing. She had one eye all swollen up, but she, by some miracle, survived a rattlesnake attack. And it was a tiny
We
little chihuahua
have
looking
good
thing.
antivenoms. If she went
Yeah.
to the vet, like these antivenoms are good, folks. Don't say no to antivenom if you get bit.
Oh
It's
God! So
important.
if there's anti-vaxxers, are they anti-venomers?
Well, there's people who are like, oh, because I think it's made there's horses involved, like horse antibodies in the process of making antivenom, and I guess it's common to be allergic to horses. So people worry like, oh, I'm going to have an allergic reaction.
Oh.
You can treat an allergic reaction. Get the antivenom. Like,
I know rattlesnake venom is used for treating arthritis. I want to say, is it arthritis? Some condition.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Huh.
This is SnakeCast, everyone.
SnakeCast,
Welcome
yeah.
to SnakeCast. Don't fuck with snakes.
Don't fuck with snakes. We go over to the war room where Starbuck gets paid the worst compliment ever by her boss. She's not weighed down by conventional thinking. Now,
That's accurate.
now, Vic,
I aspire to not be weighed down by conventional thinking. So
I feel like you might hear this more in a military setting than you would a traditional work setting. If my boss said this to me, I would be like probably walking for the door. Like, there's no way that this can be pulled off as a compliment, right?
In my experience, I've never heard that before. No, I've never heard anyone advocate for outside the box thinking. Like in my experience,
Well, even
at
if you
least-
want
The Army
that,
loves a
there's
box.
ways to
yes,
say
they
it.
love their fucking box, dude. They're all just like, no, we're gonna go with the box, even though it's outdated and stinky and moldy and falling apart. We're using the fucking box. Yeah. Fuck that box. God damn. Anyway.
yeah. She doesn't think their plan is any good, and she
Yeah.
has reasons why. And yeah, okay.
She starts to go
let's
into
let the
them.
lady cook. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we cut over to her pitching the plan to the president.
Because it involved borrowing a couple of
Yeah.
civilian ships.
Yeah, gonna have to have some civvy bait.
Decoys. Yeah. Are we using the civilian pilots as decoys, or do we at least put military pilots in the civilian ship?
Oh, they never clarified that. Huh.
Yeah.
The way they talk about it, they're like, we'll just tell them to hightail it as soon as there's trouble.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's the
Civilian
It's just the
pilots.
civvies.
pilots,
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, any pilot has to be ready for
You're now a military pilot.
Yeah, like you have to be ready for that quick jump.
Mhm.
You got good at it the first time, and if you didn't
man,
get good
yeah.
at it the first time, you got good at it in the first 100, or you didn't make it.
I loved the guy. I wish we would have brought him back for the series, but in the original miniseries, the pilot of Colonial One that Apollo befriends
Oh yeah, that guy.
when the attacks happened, that guy was cool. I mean, he looked like an airline pilot or a space line pilot, I guess. So,
Yeah. That would have been fun to have that sort of like
yeah, I would have loved
other
more
type of
stuff.
character.
Yeah, I mean, we get a little bit more of it in the later seasons, but I would have loved to see more about life in the fleet. You know,
Yeah,
Right.
the cast expands a bit. So
it does, but from a production standpoint, it's just a lot cheaper to do everything on Galactica because you don't have to build
Yeah.
new sets and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baltar is brought in to do some science, specifically to be all like, "Hey, don't go Gandhi and nuke this bitch."
I love a good Civ joke.
Yeah, that has to be one of the most iconic bugs in video game history.
I'm not so sure that was a bug.
No, it was. So,
Was it?
so how it worked in like the coding of the first Civ is the leaders had a like stat on which they would be like likelihood to nuke, and they set Gandhi to the lowest. And so if you did anything that would lower it, it went negative.
Oh, reset to the.
And went to the top. And so that's why, like, if you ever made peace with Gandhi, he would nuke the shit out of you in that game. It was a bug.
Don't eyeball me, Gandhi.
Hilarious. Yeah, we can't use the nukes because that's gonna like
Blow
make
up
the ore
blow up their
inert.
gasoline. Yeah. the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Gaius knows what needs to be done, but he doesn't know enough to be able to spot the unrefined tanks. So he asks 6PT for help on his homework again. And she can't help him, but God can. And Baltar's like, wait a minute, this is Cylon God, right? Right? Why would Cylon God help me blow up Cylons? And 6PT is all like, God only cares about your love. Everything else, meh. So Baltar gives it a guess, and he confesses that he guessed. And God's like a mystery, y'all.
Yeah, it doesn't always speak in words.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm starting to think God is a giant ruse.
Why? This is one of those moments that I just cringed at, and I get the secondhand embarrassment a lot for Baltar.
Yeah, same.
Because he could have just said, "I don't know," and they
Yeah.
could have looked over it and tried to make an educated guess, but he just
yeah,
had
the
to
three
be.
of us. Well, this looks like this and that.
Yeah, they couldn't have
maybe,
studied
yeah.
it in depth, but no, he was all just like, right there, like
Must-
you're playing fucking pin the tail on the Cylon. Like, what the hell are you doing
Must
there,
be
Baltar?
smart guy. Can't
Yeah.
not be smart guy.
God, fucking Baltar.
I've worked with people
God,
like this.
This guy.
Yes.
Fuck.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think
it's
we've all worked with a Baltar at some point.
Yeah. Just I have to know everything. I have to be right.
I've cleaned up many a mistake by a Baltar.
Oh, for sure.
Cleaning up a Baltar mess is never fun.
For sure.
So Adama goes to visit Starbuck in the gym, and she's still under the impression that she's going to get to go along and do her own plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's not having that because her knee has not healed enough yet, and she's not going to be able to take the G forces of spinning around doing this thing, which I liked that we remembered that gravity's a thing in this show.
Right.
They're
Now,
nice and conscious of it, where some sci-fi shows are just like, man, it's whatever.
They gloss over it. It's somewhat inconsistent, but the Raptors very obviously have artificial gravity because it's a tiny little ship, but occasionally, and I guess it's just when the production team remembered it, Occasionally they'll do a little thing where something will be floating inside a raptor, but I would imagine the vipers themselves they're too small.
Yeah,
Those are
I mean
really
they're so
gonna
small.
gravity.
You don't need it. You're just like in the thing, right? And
He's strapped in, yeah.
he's like adding weights to her training thing to make it
He
like
is
the
setting her
G-forces she would
physical therapy
experience.
back weeks.
I thought the same thing. I thought Starbuck she's great. She's a stubborn lady.
Yeah.
And is she going to blow out her knee because she will not admit that she cannot take this?
That's
Like,
a very Starbuck thing to do. I can see that.
Yeah, just delay her from getting back by a month for this, to prove the
proving
point.
a point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I suppose it's better than her dying because she refused to listen to the point.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
Starbuck and Apollo after this, close shit talk. Their faces are like Barbie and Ken kissing distance.
Just kiss. Kiss already. Yeah.
Before we cut over to Caprica Orange, where Hilo and Sharon are setting up camp in a barn.
In season 1, this was my favorite. I love this B plot of Hilo and Not Boomer running around on Caprica, and dude, I loved it. But this episode was the worst part of that scene. It was just so dull and boring, and I did not believe that they were on a nuked Fallout planet when they were in this barn.
Even Hilo's like, why are there no people?
Right.
Okay. So this was a little more interesting to me than the one in the tunnel where they're just like running through a wet tunnel all episode. Because in this barn, they're going up to hide. Hilo's going to get out some food and Sharon throws up. And I'm like, is she a pregnant Cylon? Like, I'm just like,
I got to do the resting
Is
Xhafer
that
face.
possible?
well, didn't Six and Doral like want her to go off with him to some cabin and set up shop and have a family? And I'm like, are they
did
trying
say
to
that.
see if we can interbreed ourselves with these humans?
Now, Xhafer already told me I can't drop the spoiler that I wanted to drop, so I'm not going to say anything.
I'm just like, oh.
Well, I will say
the
that
hot goss.
Hilo does bring up the fact that they haven't seen any people, and that
Yes.
we explore that more later on. I don't think in this season, but I think it's in season 2 we explore
Super
that more.
sus that he's
that there are no
here.
Mhm.
She's
And
here,
not
but
just
no one else.
no people. There's no horses in this barn.
Oh yeah.
No animals.
You know what? Have they all been like rounded up somewhere and we're going to start trying to do stuff to him? Poor Victor. I'm doing horrible things to him.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that it bothers me that we didn't get more about post-nuclear Caprica or any of the other colonies. Honestly, like I would have loved like a fucking video game that is like Fallout Caprica. That would have been
Yeah.
badass, dude. Where you're just wandering around trying to survive in the wasteland. Because there are still there's still
bet-
survivors.
I bet in this game, in this game you've come up with, that if you crouch, the toasters can't see you.
Yes.
Because they
You
can't look
crouch
down,
walking.
So
That's right. Yeah, the
that's
previous
a good
episode,
game
they
mechanic.
can't they can't see.
I don't know. Can you ask ChatGPT to make a video game for you yet? We got to be
Yes.
close.
No, there is actually. I just saw this on one of my favorite podcasts, Core, where they talk about video games. There's a new, I forget who it is. It's probably EA because they're always the evil empire of the video game world. But there's an AI program that will study your video game habits, how you play a game, and it tracks your mouse controls and keyboard stuffs, and then it will make a video game for you based on your preferences. And they showed a demo of it, and it looked exactly like Fortnite, the video game that it created. I was gonna say if for me, what it would do is it would create a game where you have a library of games, like a Steam library, and just show you things on sale, and I would just buy games and never play them, because that's what.
Yeah, yeah.
Mine would
That's
just
your
load
hobby,
up
yeah.
Civ 5.
Yeah.
Call it a day.
I was wondering which Civ you preferred.
So they're 8 to 10 days out from Delphi, which they're pronouncing wrong. Isn't it Delphi?
Oh, yeah, it should be Delphi, right?
Yeah,
Oh, well.
whatever.
It's different alternate universe. Sure.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, they can't pronounce it wrong. It's their word. But yeah. Anywho, over in the hangar bay, Lee is just chilling with his Viper as his dad comes to check in. The commander gives Lee his dad's lighter from when he
Yeah.
finished law school, the family good luck charm.
Yeah, the magic Zippo. Yeah, he's going to bring it back under threat of ass kicking. So
That was a
it's
good
all
line.
going to be fine. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He kind of apologizes for being a bad dad. I
In
like
his own
that.
way. Yeah, in his own Edward James almost kind of
Yeah.
way.
He at least kind of admitted it.
All throughout, it's something I didn't notice until way late into the series, that Edward James almost wears contacts to turn his eyes blue, because Apollo has blue eyes. And something
Oh.
I didn't even realize until
They didn't
way
need to
later.
do that.
Yeah.
You can
well,
have one brown-eyed parent and one blue-eyed parent.
Yeah.
That's our children, or one of our children.
Hmm.
Oh, well. I can
Yeah.
understand why they did it, but they didn't have to.
Yeah. Well, they just have to establish that bond there. The commander says he believes Lee is a better pilot than Starbuck because of nepotism. We cut back over to Caprica Golden Hour as a 6 and some Centurions roll in. And we don't have time for ladders as they jump down, and Hilo almost figures it out.
He's so close. He's so close. He's
Yes.
like, how is this lady alive? He just doesn't know about the new Cylons.
Yep.
This bugged me a lot, because they just glossed over the fact that, not Boomer here, just Hilo is just not bringing up the fact that she just randomly killed this woman.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that happened. He didn't ask her why she shot her. She just, oh, that's just a thing that you do.
She was hanging out with Centurions, so I mean,
But
she's
he wouldn't.
she's a
he wouldn't
Cylon
ask about-
defector. Yeah.
Did they ever touch on that? I mean, they could have just said at some point, Hilo could have just said, just oh yeah, in any war you end up having collaborators or some shit like that. That would have done it, but it just seems like a writing error to me that Hilo was never concerned about the fact that Sharon just randomly shot this blonde lady for no reason.
Well, and he's not
While he was making out with her, for crying out loud.
and he's like so close, but he didn't even get it when they were in the wet tunnel, and Sharon just doesn't get tired,
Yeah. She
The
even
wet
said,
tunnel is a sewer, by the way. I forgot what sewers were.
right. She
It's
even
just a
said
wet
last
tunnel.
episode, you're the one who needs sleep.
Yeah. So close, yet so far. Hilo, smooth brain.
Smooth brain Hilo.
Hilo's here to look pretty.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah. Okay. So they're running, and the operation kicks off.
Yeah, they're in Galactica's telethon room.
Yeah.
Right, with all the... It does
Oh,
look
I
like-
remember those.
It does look like a
Yeah.
telethon. Oh my god, that is a throwback.
So if you donate $50 to the Tillium effort today, you'll receive this beautiful tote bag.
And the first 10 callers will also receive a toaster mug.
Now, if you're looking to make a big donation to the Tillium Fund today, for the small gift of 150 credits, you will receive a toaster that toasts a Cylon face into your toast.
So with this battle kicks off. Well, take us into it, Xhafer, because I got a thing.
They wait for the raiders to take the bait and launch the strike force when they do. Kara has a hard time on the sidelines, and Adama's all like, yeah, bro, first time, is the reality of what it's like whenever they do anything hits her on what it's like for him. He's very empathetic here. But this is the reality that they're stuck with. You know, you don't have the reflexes, or you don't have the physical strength, or you don't have the uninjured body to be a fighter pilot anymore. So this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
50 Raiders come for the dozen Vipers. They launch out of the base, and it does not go well.
Yeah, they start getting torn up. Now, I did want to bring up something here about the Vipers. Now, you've seen before how when the Vipers go in to attack, they do this really cool spinny move, like a little aileron roll, where they do that a lot.
The hard
And
six. Yeah.
Yeah, the hard six. Yeah, we'll just call it the hard six roll. Now, back in the day, before the modern social media thing that we have here, me and the rest of the Galactica fans would hang out on the Sci-Fi forums after each episode and talk about it. And I remember someone had brought up about how the Vipers, how they're somewhat realistically designed, because in space the optimal shape of a spacecraft for maneuvering would be almost like a pyramid, and the Vipers are almost like that, and they have the thrust nozzles to make the Viper spin around that you see that they do that. Again, it's a lot like Babylon 5 with the Star Furies, were a realistic design. And I remember someone pointed out that the reason that they roll, and there was a whole article about this. Oh, damn, I should have looked it up beforehand to see if it's still there, but I think it's on a website called Atomic Rockets. It's a real hard sci-fi web blog talking about the realities of science fiction and all that. But it mentioned that in reality, you wouldn't need to have thrust nozzles like that to maneuver. Like modern space shuttles use a gyroscope, and it's called a control moment gyroscope, or CMG. And it's something that the space shuttles use to reorient themselves without having to use like thrusters and stuff. It's basically like shifting the center of gravity around so it can roll and turn. It's like, imagine if you were in space, or if you're underwater and you could just twist your spine to turn your body around. That's basically the science of how it works. And someone had posted this really in-depth look at it, and like, yeah, that's the reason the Vipers spin like that whenever they're going into battle, because you got to think, like, for a combat spacecraft, it would need a much more powerful gyro than what we have on the space shuttles currently, because it would need to spin a lot faster, and you could imagine that it has a lot of...
the ship itself is the gyro? Like,
yeah.
Because you have to just make it the pivots at the end? Yeah, that makes sense.
The idea was that a powerful gyro like that would probably have a lot of stored up kinetic energy that you would just need to release once in a while to keep it from burning out. And the chief even says on occasion, like, oh, the gimbal's blown again, and the gimbal is a part of the gyro. And this post actually got a reply, I remember. I don't remember if it was from Ron D. Moore himself, but it was from someone on the show from Sci-Fi who came in and said, that's a really great analysis, but no, we just do it because it looks cool.
I mean, sometimes it just looks cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just such a typical sci-fi nerd thing, that we just do a deep dive and explain something on the show, and it's like, no, it just fucking look cool. So
it does. So this fight's not going well. They call for retreat, and when the Cylons hear the retreat, they send the 100 Raiders away from the civvy decoys to the Galactica and the Raiders there. This starts Starbuck's real plan, as she laughs and does the finger thing like Mr. Burns.
Excellent.
Lee hears that the back door is open.
Good thing Ben's not here, because I know he would be making a terrible pun joke right now.
Yep.
But I do love in the scene the way Baltar is freaking
Listener,
out.
make your own terrible Ben pun
make your own
here.
backdoor joke. Yeah. But I love the way Baltar is freaking out here.
He is freaking out. Yeah. He's
What-
losing his shit.
Just as the little 3D printed Cylon models get pushed closer and closer to the Galactica.
Yeah. He's like, where's the backup fighters?
There is no backup.
It's not that there's no backup. It's all the pieces are on the board.
Yes.
Right. So he's all obsessed with being smart guy, but he doesn't have it all. Like, and he can't accept that he doesn't have it all. Like, they are doing a thing and they've been outsmarting him on this thing the whole time. And come on, Gaius, just like get a little humility.
You can't be an expert in everything, but that's what he feels like he needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, his anxiety is just palpable in the scene. It's so good.
It's pretty good.
We get a quick shot of the decoy freighters, and hey, they've got shipping crates. We're hiding shit in shipping crates, just like the Expanse. I love it.
Ah, yeah, shipping crates in space. Except these are
Classic.
square and not octagonal. Or
The
hexagonal.
ships are
Hexagon, yeah.
Yeah, the ships are hexagons, with the shipping crates layered in.
Yeah.
And one of them kind of like breaks off, and they were hiding a Viper wing in this giant shipping crate.
So good.
Yeah, and they very quickly make it to the base.
Now, I paused and I stopped to count the number of Vipers, and there are, in fact, 12 Vipers in Apollo's squadron here.
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder if that means anything.
Prophecy, Pythia. So the missile guidance systems are jammed, and Chuckles doesn't get the last laugh. So Lee decides to go on a trench run here.
Did you clock Chuckles? It's our plant guy from The Expanse.
Oh, no, I didn't. That's fun.
Yeah, same actor. Yeah, it was his only appearance, I think, in Galactica.
Oh, is that Prax?
Yeah, Prax. Yep.
I only know the books, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Nice.
plant guy bought it.
Lee goes on a trench run here, landing a bomb right where the doctor told him.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
I love that in all of this, Rosalind is really mad at first. She's like,
Yeah, you didn't tell me about the
What?
plan. Which made sense to me because we still don't know who the Cylons are. So
Right.
you want to keep this shit a secret.
yeah, Adama's right to defend it really quick about like,
Yeah, and
you
we
know,
just
this
had
is
the-
tactical. We're just working out the details. You didn't need to know like all the little details.
We just had the episode. Was it the one previous to this where she was fucking trying to get Adama to do a blood test because
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah. And we never found out about that blood test, did we?
Well,
didn't
we
find
know
out about
that
any of them, to be honest.
Yeah, they don't
Baltar's
explicitly
told us
state.
that
Mhm.
everyone
that's right.
passes, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's a fucking loser. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah, but they blow up the Death Star. Fuck yeah, everyone celebrates.
Something that bugged me about this was that
Yeah.
we never address the 100 Cylon raiders that were coming towards Galactica.
They leave.
Right. They're just
They blow
bugging
up
out.
the base
for
and they just
why?
bug out. Why?
Yeah.
There's so many of them. There's no way they couldn't
Right.
destroy Galactica.
And there's less than a dozen Vipers left in the Galactica's hangar bay.
They're outnumbered.
So they're
10
still
to
outnumbered.
1.
They didn't suddenly stop being outnumbered, but Adama tells them they can stop running and try and
Yeah.
fight them.
Just shoot
I
them.
much would have rather preferred it if they just would have done a scene. Like, I understand there's budget concerns, but they could have just reused the scenes they already have of Galactica firing its guns and just make it to where the Galactica destroyed that big fleet of raiders.
You know, there's another like little one line you could do of like there's some kind of central computer or guidance system down there in the mine. And by doing that, they all panic or they all lose
Well-
what they're doing and they're just like easy to kill now. But
No, because the
Yeah,
raiders don't work like that. Like
I know,
they
but
already said it, because it's not a spoiler because we've already said it. But as Boomer pointed out, they're living machines. The raiders.
yeah, but she did say they were to treat it like a pet.
Yeah, so they're like
So
trained.
pets aren't always the smartest.
Yeah, they're like trained attack dogs, is what the raiders are.
Yeah.
They're living machines just like all the Cylons. So
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, they're not the smart ones, right? So
Yeah.
maybe there's some sort of central thing that if you disrupt it, you can kill them much easier now or something.
That
Like,
wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. No.
yeah.
It's
No, they're attack
inconsistent
dogs.
with later stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But they could have just shown the Galactica using its guns to
Yeah.
kill the fleet of raiders. Or I thought this would be really fun to do like a Sheridan maneuver, where maybe
Just nuke 'em.
Adama had a couple of nukes planted in between on some of the asteroids and just blow up all the raiders. That would have been cool, but
Yeah.
I understand they couldn't do that for budget constraints, but again, there's no reason they couldn't have just reused the shot of the turrets on Galactica. Oh, one more thing that we haven't seen yet. I don't think we ever see in the show, so no spoiler here, but the gun turrets on Galactica, if you pause and zoom in, you can see that they're not automated. There's a dude in there. There's someone in there
Nice.
manning the guns, the turrets, and I'm sad we never got to see that point of view. So.
That would have been a fun episode.
That'd be cool as shit, because those are some big-ass guns, yo. I want to be the dude in the turret. Blah, 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 blah.
Your hearing would suck.
What? You want me to shoot stuff? Okay.
I just think of there's a webcomic for Warhammer 40K where it's like one of the Space Marines, and he's like, where he sits to pilot the vehicle has two giant cannons right next to his head. And
Yeah.
he's just like, someone's trying to talk to him. He's like, brother, I cannot hear you. I have tinnitus. It's exactly that.
For the Emperor. I'm right here, dude. You don't have to.
Yeah, so big celebrations in the hangar bay, champagne, and the last cigar, and a look that says, I'm proud of you, but will not be saying that out loud today.
Right. No, isn't this last cigar? Didn't Adama give this to Starbuck?
Ty?
Ty,
gave it to
maybe
Starbuck.
somebody gave it to Starbuck, and now she's passing it on to
yeah.
Lee.
Spoiler alert, the cigars in this show are a lot like the shuttles and torpedoes in Voyager. They're just Starbucks always got a cigar.
I can accept that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can. Yeah, I mean, cigars are so easy to have on ships. You know.
Yeah, you're just growing
Smoking
tobacco
in a
somewhere.
spaceship? Jeez, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Maybe you had
they-
a cigar merchant on one of those civilian vessels. You know, moving
Maybe
his stuff around.
they started using alternatives to tobacco. They have they're smoking algae cigars now.
Yeah. I feel like yeast is always coming up in the Expanse books. I don't know if it did on the show, but they're always talking about like the yeasts.
It's a microorganism that you can consume for nutritional value that can grow on almost anything.
Anything. Yeah.
Yep.
I've read books about using like crab to make alcohol and stuff. Like yeast, you can do fucking anything. Yeah.
There was
Nature loves a crab.
I used to be really into the Food Network and Chopped.
Yeah.
And they did a themed episode once where they had past, present, and future. They had like themed meals based on like they had one from the 60s that was like filled with ingredients that are like canned food and stuff from war rationing from World War II. And then they had 90s food trends, which was like apple teenies and Asian chicken salads. But anyway, but the interesting part was they did a future Chopped Chef challenge where they had to use ingredients that would probably be from the future in like a scarcity wasteland type idea. And one of them was ostrich meat, because apparently ostriches don't use a lot of resources to...
Yeah, that was like a fad too, where people were like, "Oh yes, ostrich meat is going to be the next big thing," and so
Yeah,
people were like
apparently
buying
it's-
ostriches and emus. Yeah,
Apparently it's a lot more sustainable than cattle or horses.
Yeah.
And another one was, algae oil was one of the ingredients. It looked just like olive oil, but it was made with algae. And
algae's cool. Yeah. I also like algae. Very interested.
I don't think I can't imagine that tastes good though.
So don't laugh, but years ago, I got really interested in a biofuel company, was like kind of following their stuff. Like, yeah, algae fuel is going to be the next thing. And, you know, spoiler, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Not yet anyway. But they also launched like a side skincare line. And I am still using alginist skincare.
Well, your face is beautiful, so I guess it's working.
Oh,
so,
thank you. Yeah. No, Aaron
Except
likes
for your red
to-
nose from being sick, but anyway,
Well,
sorry, I wasn't going to say
that's not alginist's fault, but we like to call it me going to slap the algae on my face.
Nice.
But yeah, we have one last scene here. Gaius and 6BT talk prophecies from Pythia.
In his little mind palace again.
Yeah, and Gaius's place in the Order Cosmic.
And we do a nice little Christ pose on the balcony to credits.
It's so subtle.
Yeah. No, he did. This is the light bulb moment where 6PT quotes the scripture again, talking about led by serpents, numbering 2 and 10, and Baltar says, "Oh, the vipers, they're the serpents," and yeah, that's why I paused. What?
Wait, you guys.
What?
You know what else numbers 2 and 10?
The 12 colonies.
The models of
12
Cylons.
Cylons,
There
yeah.
are 12 models of Cylons, you guys.
12 is
Oh,
is
are they
big
the
thing.
snakes?
Well, she specifically says, or he specifically says, the vipers are the serpents.
Yeah.
But I guess there could be multiple interpretations. But yeah,
That's
numbering
a prophecy, man. Prophecy's always got multiple ways to do it. We learned that from George R.R. Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But numbering 2 and 10, that's 12. That's why I paused and counted how many vipers, and yeah, there were 12 in Apollo's squad. So that was really cool.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So that's the episode.
That's our episode.
Dun,
All
dun,
right.
dun.
So, Vic, on a scale of 1 to 12 vipers.
11 vipers, because this is, like I said, my second favorite episode of the first season. It was just so much fun. And in the end, this is one of the very few, I feel like, happy episodes that we get. Because most of them are pretty fucking dark. But it ends with the celebration where they're all breaking out the last bottles of champagne in existence, to celebrate.
Right.
And yeah, it's a big victory. Just glossing over the fact that they even specifically mentioned there's nothing to stop the Cylons from jumping back in and wiping them out, but we just ignore that little fact. And it's a big victory for the fleet. It's a huge boost to morale. I love the president and Starbuck hugging. That's just a really feel good moment, and the music is great. It almost brings a tear to my eye. It was a really
the
good
music is really good in this one. This one made me, I kind of went on my Vangelis kick for a little while after Blade Runner, because I've discovered I really need to listen to something on my noise canceling earbuds when I'm working in my group office to tune everybody
Take
out and not
everything
talk
out,
to
yeah.
them, because I'll just talk too much. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to add the Battlestar Galactica soundtrack. I'm not going to look at any of the titles on anything. I'm just going to let it play and add that into my music rotation.
I used to use the BSG soundtrack for some of my D&D games that I would run. So
Yeah.
it works good as background music.
I've been listening to a lot of the Metaphor Refantasio soundtrack, which is a JRPG that I was obsessed with about a month ago. It has lots of Buddhist chanting in Esperanto in it.
I love Esperanto.
It is very interesting, very unique, very cool.
Neat.
Remind me, I'll send a track out in the chat.
I've been hearing a lot about that game.
It's
they're
so
bringing it up a lot in
fucking good. Instantly in my top 3 video games of all time.
Oh, nice.
It's so good. I have to let it sit maybe another month before I really firm up on that, but I put it up there pretty instantly with Final Fantasy VI, Civ 5.
That's a throwback.
I have a Final Fantasy VI tattoo, Vic.
Bro, okay, we'll talk about this more on LTO. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, back to Galactica. Yeah, I give this one an 11. And if nothing else, it has a trench run, and anything that has a trench run automatically gets some high points. So.
Yeah. I feel like that's just for us as fans, right?
For sure.
Anybody throws a trench run in, they're like, you know the one. You know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would give it an 11, except we really glossed over those fighters leaving at the end, and that kind of annoys me. So I'm going to have to give it a 10. Everything else was really good, but when it's just like, we're just going to get the ones.
Not address that fact,
Yeah,
I could probably fix this in an edit and just reuse some shots of Galactica's guns and show some Cylon raiders exploding, and problem solved. And then plot hole fixed.
Yeah, it's just they left it a little hanging for me. I wasn't quite sold on that. What about you, Xhafer?
I'm gonna split the difference and do 10.5.
Oh,
Nice.
Look at this.
Yeah. No, I was right there. I agree. The Raiders is vanishing, but everything else about this episode, absolutely fantastic. Loved it.
Yeah, it was a good time.
It solidified Apollo as just as capable as Starbuck.
which
Of being
was,
out of the box insane. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, we didn't mention the thing where he decides to do the trench run, and Baltar's like, what? Why are you doing this, Apollo? Apollo, stop!
Oh,
This is
yeah,
stupid. Yeah.
yeah,
It's nice for somebody to be like, this is stupid whenever it's a trench run. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so a little trivia piece. I didn't get to drop my other spoiler earlier, but I will drop this one because this one absolutely does not matter. But we do find out this is a background detail that is never out loud addressed in the show. But next season, no, I promise it's fine. It's Laura's reaching for her headphones right now. You see at one point on a printout, like a dossier roster of the pilots. It's fine, Laura, I promise. But we find out, and it's never mentioned. It's just something you see written on, I don't know if it's paper or screen or what, but
Yeah, okay.
Apollo is in the Colonial Navy Reserves. So that is something that is never directly addressed, but by his name it says, Captain Apollo Colonial Navy -R, which is typically he was the only one who had that. So I think that's a really cool. It's something that fits his character. Like he's kind of like wishy-washy about it. He didn't want to fully be, so he was in the Navy. He was a pilot in the reserves of the colonial military. Anyway, I might think that's a lot more interesting than most people do. But I think it really fits his character. That's he didn't want to fully commit to the colonial military life like his father did.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's part of why Daddy's not able to say he's proud of him and stuff.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Daddy's like, you're a pilot and you kind of followed me, but you did the reserves. Like, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, he gave me so much anxiety with your holding your like no. I gotta hand it to you, Laura. I would not be able to resist spoilers the way you do. Like
so far, I'm doing okay. I did wonder when I went to pull up the soundtrack. I was like, oh shit, I probably should just not look at the titles. Like that could be a source, right?
Could be a whole thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, next week we've got season 1, episode 11, Colonial Day. President Laura Rosalind finds herself pitted against her old nemesis, Tom Zarek, when she organizes a grand event to announce her choice for vice president.
Oh, no.
Someone's getting a promotion.
Zarek, that son of a bitch. He's such a good villain. Next episode, I rewatched it the other day, and it hits different with the
everything.
Events.
Yeah.
With the whole, gestures wildly going on in our modern era today. It was hard to watch, but yeah, you'll see.
Okay. I'll brace myself.
The blonde reporter from the intro, Playa Palacios, she makes a reappearance. So she's not just a one-off character. Yeah.
All right.
Neat.
All right, Vic, well, tell the people where they can find you.
Find me on Facebook at Dominion Media TV. By the time this airs, I'm going to be, for March the 4th and celebration, I've already started on reviving and continuing the series, one of my most popular comics, Star Trek A New Hope, where I recreate in comic form Star Wars A New Hope, but with Star Trek characters and scenes. Celebrating it for March 4th. March the 4th be with you. So,
that's May 4th, right?
No, you're wrong.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, and you can also find me co-hosting other now third best podcast on the What Happened Here network. Last time on, where we're going through Viper, one of the most shows from the 90s.
Are there 2 and 10 of them?
2 and 10 Vipers. Oh, it is a V10 engine,
and there are 2 Vipers.
There are at least 2, yeah.
Huh.
I don't know how many Vipers we've gone through at this point. But
all of this has happened before and will happen again.
All right.
Tune in to Last Time On to find out how many shirts Frankie is wearing or is not wearing. Listeners of the show will
the
reference.
Best joke I ever make is on next week's episode of Last Time On. Or no, it would have been yesterday's episode when this airs because we're behind. Okay. So yeah, with all that said, it's just a couple of thank yous. It's Jeremy Siegel. Jeremy, Jeremy, I'm looking into the camera. Jeremy, I'm making eye contact with you through an audio format.
He absolutely is, yeah.
Jeremy, thank you so much for composing our theme music. We appreciate the hell out of you. You can find more of Jeremy's work at jeremyseagull42.bandcamp.com and on streaming services as Nuclear Jaguar.
And thank you to Angry Duck Time Machine on Instagram for our podcast artwork.
Aaron, put you through the ringer this time. Always do appreciate the hell out
Once
of you.
again, yeah.
Thanks so much for editing this podcast. And thank you, Vic, for joining us.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Appreciate having you on.
Thank you, listener, for being here with us. If you want to be here with us more, you can join the Discord. It's linked in the show notes. Be with us all the time. It's not weird at all. It's actually a pretty fun place, so come on over.
It is. I had to turn off my notifications for the Discord because it would like pop up while I was driving and get in front of my GPS and stuff. But yeah, it's been getting pretty popular lately, so join in, guys.
Yeah. All right. And we'll see you next week, Internet.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.